Hello and welcome to another episode of the ZymCast. My name is Chase.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Cheyenne. Hi.
Hello, everybody. So this is the second recording. We messed up on the first one. I'm just gonna, for transparency.
Transparency round 2, folks.
Yeah.
Hopefully the tech will not fail us again.
Yes. But today is going to start a little bit differently. I do want to start on a kind of heavy note. That being said, though, if you are here for funsies and you don't really want to hear anything heavy, there will be a time code at the bottom where you can skip to the normal rambling part that we every podcast is. But I do implore you to listen because what I'm going to say is important. There's two different things I want to mention that are unrelated for the most part. So the first thing, which has been unavoidable in the current week, the last week that's happened, is what happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd. So a lot has happened in the past few days, and admittedly, some of the opinions that we share after this point are or could have been born out of naivete. And that being said, some of our opinions on specific matters might have changed since the time of recording, which admittedly, as of this recording, was just yesterday, but a lot has been happening, day after day. And there have been videos and stories circulating social media about police agitators. Yes, police agitators unprovokedly resorting to violence to break up peaceful protesters. And there is video that I'm sure you can find places that supports that claim. And it's gotten to a point for really anybody out that the people who have been sworn to protect you are the ones that you need to seek refuge from and that you should be afraid of. And that being said, that has been what the Black community has been faced with for decades, centuries even, at this point. And that's why it's so important to spread awareness of that and stand up to it. So, with all that said, what comes after this is the personal opinions, honestly, of two white and white passing males who do not presume to fully understand firsthand the struggles of the Black community, but we knew we had to speak out in some capacity because, as we do believe, being silent is being complicit. And so here you go. It definitely was a tragedy, and it is all too common for this thing to be repeated in the news. It's happened for years where unfortunately Black people do seem to, or I say seem to, but I mean they are the victims of some atrocities.
They're disproportionately made victims of violence against them in situations that never should have happened. I mean, it does feel like every 6 months or so, like we get another big story about, some other atrocity committed against them. And of course, this is when you have to think, like, if these are the ones we're hearing about, what are the ones we don't?
Yes, exactly. It's, for every one story that very often comes up in the news, how many tens, dozens, hundreds of stories are there that we don't hear that happen every day? And it is important to speak out about this because, as Kyle said in the first recording, silence is
consent.
Consent, yeah.
Silence is consent.
Yes.
If you don't say anything, that's And if you don't say, like, if you don't come out and say, like, this is wrong, this is not okay, we need to do something about it. Like, if you don't do that, then you're just saying, well, this is fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you stick your head in the dirt and do nothing about it, you're doing the same thing as,
you know. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like out there on the front lines, putting yourself, your family in like danger. But that does mean that, you know, like there are things that you can do in very many different ways to like speak out. I mean, these are like a lot of places there's voting going on right now. Like you can make your voice heard like that. You can say like, we are not okay. And we do not support the people that support this.
Exactly.
There are donations you can make. We'll get to that in a little bit. There's a lot of different things you can do other than protesting. Obviously, protesting is an amazing thing. It's, you know, a foundation of change in this country. It should be legally allowed as long as it is peaceful. And so, you know, as long as we as like a community, as a country, conduct ourselves like properly and don't get out of hand and take advantage of these situations for our own personal gain, there's a lot we can do to make a difference.
Yeah.
Eloquently or try at the very least.
Yes. And as Kyle mentioned, there are various ways of monetarily assisting, because no matter your stance on this, I think we can all agree that these store owners that are affected by the looting that is happening, that's been escalating over the past few days, are victims in this as well, in a different way. Like it's I mean, people have different ways of expressing themselves, but if it's destructive to people who might also be, you know, in line with your way of thinking, it's, you know, it hurts people other than those that, you know, should be brought to justice. And there are ways to monetarily support them as well. I implore you to make donations, as we have, to any of the organizations that I will have links for in the description. And, you know, do your part to, you know, make your voice heard. Like how I said with voting, if there is someone in your district that you know is, you know, has like racist tendencies or seems to like disproportionately prosecute minorities, then, you know, now is the time to get someone new into office, because there are a lot of local elections that are happening this year for precisely that.
Yeah. It's easy just to get caught up in the fact that this is an election year for the president, which is obviously extreme, but it's also equally important for change in your own like communities, in your own cities, in your own states. Like all of these elections are important. They may not be as romantic and exciting, but they all contribute in making a difference.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, in Los Angeles, like we were affected even here with, because the protests that did start over the past few days have like escalated into, you know, more violent or damaging riots, basically. And that's had that Mayor Garcetti has or did put a curfew into effect last night, which is why I actually did not go home last night, because in the city of Los Angeles, you couldn't be out past 8 until 5:30 in the morning. And so I stayed over here, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Yes. But
technically our city also did have a curfew in place. It just didn't start until later.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was announced pretty late.
Yeah.
I was out jogging when I read that, and I'm like, oh shit, gotta get home.
Like, oh, I don't want to be out. Yeah, so that's that. Second thing I want to talk about is different. So
I'm very curious about this, because I have no idea what we're talking about.
So I just think it's important to mention. I was like, I might as well talk about it now because we're talking about heavy things. And it's actually poignant for what happened last night as well. So basically what happened was we were watching Inception last night. And we paused like halfway through to say goodnight to her parents. And that's when like I read the tweet from the mayor saying that there's going to be a curfew in effect and do not go outside your home past 8 p.m. I was like, oh shit, I can't go home because like I'd be going into the city of Los Angeles, and I don't know if like how much they're enforcing this in my city. So I don't want to be out. So, but my car was charging at a different location because I don't charge my car here. But basically what happened, second night, Cheyenne drove me back to my car, picked it up, brought it back here so I can spend the night here. But what was happening, and I mean, it's I don't think it's difficult to talk about for me, but for a lot of people it is. And that is because Inception, this is how it came into being basically. So I was watching Inception, and the movie's pretty heavy, right? Like pretty heady. Yeah. It's about like reality and your conception of reality. We got almost exactly halfway through. I still haven't seen the second half because there's a reason.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I have been I've been struggling with anxiety and depression for a while, for a long time, untreated and undiagnosed until recently. And so currently right now, I'm actually transitioning between medications, which is never a good time. Just like, because your body's having different types of reactions. But watching that movie really put me in a weird headspace to where I was like questioning reality, right? And how, what's kind of going on, especially in this time right now, because we're all indoors. It's a lot of people have like strains on their mental health, which is very difficult. And I just thought I would also use, this platform to speak on the importance of mental health awareness. Because there are a lot of people that might be having similar struggles to what I'm having, but they don't really know, what to do, or they might think like, oh, it's okay, I'll be fine, whatever. There's really, because it started over the past few years as me just having like random panic attacks or like anxiety attacks every once in a while, and I was like, oh, that's probably something bad, but I'm fine. I can get over it the next day or whatever. I mean, like one night out of every 3 months or something like that. But it kept escalating and escalating until to a point where it was, physically harming my body. Or like I was feeling physically ill for a long time. And so then I went to the doctor, and actually I hadn't gone to a doctor in like 3 years. And I went to the doctor, and they had like a depression screening, and like, oh, you have depression. I was like, oh, like that kind of makes sense. But I, took steps to, find a therapist and, go on medication to try to, assist that. Cause I do understand like the importance of medication, to where like, oh, it does help a lot of people, even if there's like some side effects or whatever. But I mean, it's still like, if it's going to treat, the symptoms and like help in daily life, then I'm all for it. And so just being able to find help and get help for yourself is extremely important. And I will also similarly have links in the description to, different resources that you can look into for your own mental health, and be there for people who, for those around you. Because someone may be struggling with depression or anxiety or any other type of mental health issues, and you not even know it. So just being able to like check in on your friends will definitely be a big help. Because I know, especially with myself, there were a lot of times where I just felt like isolated, kind of, and almost taken out of reality in a sense. But then like people like Cheyenne or some of my friends, being able to like interact with them really grounds me. So if you have friends that you haven't spoken to a while, maybe like reach out to them, because they might, you don't know if your friends have other friends sometimes, and sometimes you're their only friend or friend group. So, checking on your friends, checking on yourself, and, there are ways for, you to get better and find help. So, okay. That's all the heavy stuff, I think, unless you wanted to touch on anything about that.
Obviously a really important thing to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Back on the fun stuff.
More fun notes, I guess.
Yeah.
So we can kind of, it's important to talk about that. I really respect you coming out and saying that. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. I my thinking is like I want to be open with my friends so that they know. Like, yeah.
No, yeah, it's important that people know, and I imagine it can't be easy. It's never easy to like come out and say like, hey, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Like there's something like, there's something that I'm going through. There's something that's, a little off, and like, I just want people to be there to, like it would be nice if people know, so that it's nice on both sides. On one hand, for you, it's really nice to be able to open up and explain to people so that they know what you're going through. And for your friends, it's really helpful for them to know what you're going through, so they can not like walk on eggshells around you, but like have an understanding of like, at least maybe they don't know what you're going through. They aren't experiencing it themselves, but they are at least aware that you're going through something, so they can like try and be there more, or just be like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here.
Yeah.
It's important for everybody involved that, all the cards are on the table.
Exactly.
And no, and I can't imagine coming out on like the internet and like saying something like that. It's not like, I know we have like 48 subscribers, but still. But like, no, but I mean, it's still like, that's not easy. You're putting out into the world. You're like, hey, I'm me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
kind
of the reason is, a few reasons, but one is like, I want to be pretty open and transparent. And then another reason is just because when I see people like that I watch come out and say stuff like that, it like for me, someone that struggles with similar things, it makes me feel more normal, I guess, like less isolated in that there are people with similar struggles. So
yeah, God knows. But yeah, so fun shit. Let's have fun.
All right. So what happened in your week, Kyle?
My week has been full of just me just doing shit. So let's tackle the media as I tend to do. So obviously I've been playing more Neo 2. It's still fun. I'm getting better at it, and so I'm dying even less than ever.
Oh, good.
But I'm still enjoying the game quite a bit. I'm a little bit past halfway through it. I'm not like pounding through this game. It's fairly long, but I'm enjoying it, but I tend to find I beat most bosses on my first or second try, and like that was not the case early game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because the game is getting harder. It's because, or like easier. I think I've adapted to the game well enough to know like how to play. But I really enjoy the game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's Dark Souls-ish shit, and I just enjoy that loop. But I've also been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Wii.
Right, you were saying
because they released basically the remastered version. I mean on the Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking because they were it was originally released on the Wii, and then like it did not look pretty. Let's be honest here. Like it looked not great. For the Wii, it was impressive, but it was the Wii.
Was it
and
not
then they're
Wii
like,
U?
hey, no, that was Wii. Xenoblade Chronicles X was on the Wii.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so it's an original Wii game that God knows we had to fight here in America to get. Nintendo of America did not want to release this game. The fools. Considering I'd say it was easily one of the best like RPGs like in general from that generation. Great game, great story, really epic, very long. Like there's a lot to enjoy in Xenoblade, but it didn't look great. And they're like, hey, we should release this somewhere else. And people are like, the Wii U? They're like, no, the 3DS. You're like, what the fuck? Let's make it look worse and have it handicapped even more to make it run on a shitty little portable device. And I'm like, I'm good. But yeah, I bought this thing day one when they released it on the Switch. It's a game I love. Looking prettier than it did before, portable. Like, it's perfect. And I liked Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I had, some fun with Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't think either of those games hold a candle to the first game, in my opinion. And replaying it now, I still agree. Like, parts of it feel a little like a couple generations ago in terms of just like the rigidity of the animations and stuff like that. But in terms of like B2B gameplay, like this game is just a lot of fun, and I really like the story and I really like the characters. Even if battles just devolve into characters saying stock lines 1,000 times. It's hilarious to listen to the first 100 times, and then you're just like, oh my god, shut up.
There was a game.
It's wrong time.
I definitely noticed that. I don't remember which game it was, though.
So, way to go, Shulk. No. They won't shut up talking to each other. And all I can think of is that scene from Civil War where Falcon's like, I don't know how many fights you've been in, but there's not normally this much talking when he's talking to Spider-Man in the airport fight scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I feel you. But that's really one of my only complaints of that game. I wish there was an option between play all these sounds or turn all of them off. Because without them talking at all, the battles feel very dead and quiet. But with them talking as much as they do, you're like, oh, Jesus, please shut up.
That's so fun. Yeah, well, because I've been playing, as you know, I've been playing Legends of Runeterra a lot.
What?
And yeah, a lot. I'm trying to go, like, I can't get out of Silver 4, man, in ranked. I'm just like, I'm stuck there. That's my skill level, apparently. I don't know. But so they're same thing where it's like, the cards are narrated or voiced, I guess. Some more than others. But yeah, whenever I play like the cards, like it's always the same line, or it's actually like they go between like 2 or 3 lines, but it's always like the same over time again. There actually was a few cards where I'm just like, is that Liam O'Brien? It is.
Of course,
like I recognize voice actors now.
Yeah, me too, all the time.
Yeah. It's like, what is that? Like Crispin Freeman? Yeah, that's Itachi.
Yeah, basically, especially to any game that has anyone from Critical Role in it.
Yeah,
because it's not just now that I know their voices and I know their character voices. Like, first of all, I can pick Matt Mercer out of a crowd no matter what voice he's doing now because I've heard them all since he's dungeon mastering and he's done 1,000 characters. I'm like,
he has a lot of voices.
Well, I know that voice.
McCree.
But like, yeah, no, like I'll be playing a game or whatever, and I'm like, is that fucking Taliesin Jaffe? Yes, it is.
I've never been able to identify Taliesin, but I've never actually. I don't know if I've heard him anything.
Yeah, I was playing a game, and I was like, that is 100% Taliesin.
Well,
so, yeah.
No, I lost my thought. Oh well.
It's okay. We forgive you. People talk too much in video games.
I was gonna say, Ashley Johnson from Avengers. Her seminal role in Avengers.
Of course.
The thing she's known for.
As waitress with 2 lines.
Yeah. Yes.
But
anything else?
I mean, those are the games I've really been playing. I've been like fucking around with other random shit, but nothing worth talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But last night I did watch a movie on Amazon Prime. Well, yesterday afternoon. Okay. It was not evening yet. But I watched a little movie that came out on Amazon called The Vast of Space. Dude, I really enjoyed this movie.
Really?
So it's a new movie. It was like an Amazon Studios, like they picked it up and stuff. This is the director's first film. It stars a bunch of basic relative unknowns. Like they've done some stuff, but I didn't recognize them from many things. Mm-hmm. And it is a story set in, I believe, the 50s in a small town. And it basically is, I mean, this is a low budget movie. It doesn't look low budget, but you can tell by the way it's structured that they like had a shoestring budget and they're like, we are going to make a story that can use that to its fullest.
Okay. I mean, I like those.
Based on the fact that we have basically 3 locations in this whole movie. 4 locations in this whole movie, and we're just going to make this work.
I mean, to be fair, there's the Hateful Eight.
I know, but like that was built to kind of be like, but essentially it is the story of the small town in like, in about the 50s, I think. And it stars a switchboard operator and a local radio DJ.
Okay.
Yeah. And essentially it's just a night, like there's the big high school basketball game going on, and this is a small town in the 50s, so everyone's at that fucking game. And so basically there's like almost no one left out in town and stuff. And so we follow Faye, who is like a 16-year-old switchboard operator, basically she just works at night to help like, pay for like to help keep her household afloat. She has a single mom and basically like a very much younger sister. And so she's just like handling the switchboard, like transferring calls, doing her thing.
As you do.
Listening to Forrest, the DJ, running like the radio. And she connects to a thing and she hears this really weird, like staticky, like signal over it. And like, as she's trying to like make connections and stuff, like lines keep cutting out and people like keep getting like dropped from their calls. And like this signal interrupts the radio and like, there's like a bunch of really weird shit going on. She's like, what's happening?
It's aliens.
And so she's like calling around to be like, what was that?
It's aliens.
It is aliens.
I knew it.
So I would say that's a spoiler, but I think it's super fucking obvious super quickly. But and what it turns into is essentially like she like contacts Forrest like, hey, I think something interrupted your broadcast. He's like, fuck, I didn't even notice something did interrupt my broadcast. And they put it out on the radio and they're like, hey, if anybody knows what this is, call. And they get calls from people who might have backgrounds and like stuff. And basically it's a series of just like long monologues and characters telling stories and stuff leading into this like narrative about like, what the fuck is this? What is going on? And why are people seeing things in the sky? And it honestly, like, it's very low budget. It's very like, I mean, like this would work as a, like, this is like a script that like would work perfectly as a radio play kind of a thing.
Okay. Or
like a stage show, because it's a lot of people being in one location, going to another location, and just like, it's very much built on the performances of its cast, which are all very good.
That's cool.
Like I really enjoyed the characters. I really liked the dialogue and the script, very strong. You get to know these characters really well, and the camera work is great, which I think is important because it makes it feel like a bigger production than it probably was. The movie has a lot of long tracking shots, a lot of them, and some of them are definitely used to pad the length of the film. But, and some of them are definitely used probably to make editing easier. But it never feels, I was never distracted by it. But like the movie, especially in the beginning, like it opens with Everett like walking into this high school auditorium because there's power flickering going on and stuff. And so like, hey, do you know anything about what's going on? He's going back, he's trying to like help figure it out. He's talking to people, he's having like a good old time. But it's like a long tracking shot behind him as he's walking like through the gym and as everybody's getting ready, and people are just like trying to get his help on how to set up the recording systems for the game when they're like, recording it. And then like he meets up with Faye and they have like this long tracking shot through the city, and it just keeps going. It's like, it's really cool. It establishes the location and the characters really well, because like she has like a new like basically tape deck recorder that she's like testing out, and he's like, hey, let's just interview random people. She's like, what are you talking about? I'll just like walk up to people chilling in their cars, and it's like, so what's up with you today? And he's like, ask them questions. She's like, I don't know what to ask them. Just like stupid shit like that. And you really like these characters immediately. You get a fun like bond between them. And so as they come together to try and solve like this mystery, what's going on, and they like reach out to these people to try and gain more information, like you're totally on board with their journey. And I really enjoyed the movie. It's a very slow burn. There's not a lot of excitement, like in terms of just like, ooh, action set pieces. Like it's not that kind of movie. But if you're just down for a movie that's like a really cool, slow burn, sort of like, there's so much tension in the movie, despite a lot of it just being characters like sitting at a thing or listening to somebody talk. Like it's really cool. And all of it is presented as if it's like this Twilight Zone-esque sort of episode. I can't remember because like the movie starts with you like in this old-timey living room with like a TV on it that like has a total Twilight Zone-esque introduction speech playing. And it's like the something theater. And then like you just keep zooming into this TV, which is starting to play the movie until you kind of like fuse into the TV and it becomes like a full screen shot and stuff. It's interesting. Cool. It's kind of fun. And I feel like it's kind of the beginning, because this is this director's first movie. And I feel like it's kind of the beginning of like an anthology-esque idea of films. Okay. Which, if that's true, would be cool. I'm super down for it. It felt like an old Twilight Zone episode in all of the best ways. It's on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. I liked it. That's all I got to say.
It seemed interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's the kind of movie that doesn't get made much anymore. or at least it doesn't get a lot of attention anymore.
I was gonna say maybe it's still like they're made, but they're not. Distributed, as widely. Yeah,
but considering it was, it was already made, it was already filmed and stuff. They tried to get it around to film festivals and stuff. Amazon picked it up. It's a new movie fucking coming out nowadays. That alone incites some, excitement.
Yeah.
So what have you guys been up to?
Well, oh no, I had something in my mind and then I forgot.
What?
The aliens took it.
Oh no.
Okay, Cheyenne, what have you been up to while Chase thinks?
Well, the same thing that Chase has been up to. We've been watching movies.
Nothing new? Nothing besides that?
You've been playing Animal Crossing? How's Animal Crossing going?
Yeah, I've been playing Animal Crossing.
She's been playing Animal Crossing. I've been playing Legends of
I'm praying to God that I can get out of Silver 4.
I can't. Oh.
Start like sacrificing goats. Come on, Dark Lord! I need to progress! At least to gold!
Help me. Yeah, but we have been watching a lot of movies. I would say this week, it's fair to say we watched several movies. Because last week you said several and it was 2. But
this time, more than a pair.
Yes, at least 4. 5.
At least
5?
4.5.
We watched a movie like every night besides Friday, which was D&D, and then there was one other, I think Monday we didn't watch a movie.
No,
Monday we did.
Ooh. Actually, sorry. I do have one more thing to touch on really quick. I finally finished the first season of Survivor. and I am now watching the third season of Survivor because Amazon Prime's selection of seasons of Survivor is bonkers. So here are the seasons you can watch for free on Amazon Prime. 1, 3, 12 through 28.
That's like freaking Hulu. Like you just get like random ass seasons. Like get the whole license.
Like I mean,
I don't care about starting on season 3 and then jumping to 7. Like I want them all. Start from 1.
What's good about Survivor?
Doesn't matter.
It's a game show.
Yeah.
But the farther you get in the seasons, the more they start getting characters back, like getting people back from previous seasons. And so like I'm gonna be like watching like Heroes versus Villains season 20.
But it's not gonna matter if you don't know.
I'll know like maybe half of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it just means less to me because I haven't seen the earlier ones.
Yeah.
So we watched. Actually, I never mentioned why the allergy thing was important.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's because I'm allergic to my new medication.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like I'm breaking out in like highs all over my body.
You're like me now.
Yeah, they don't itch though, so it's not really that
good for
bad.
you.
I mean, it's not good.
It's not
ideal.
It's not great. I mean, I'm not gonna die from it. I don't think, but
they're growing in.
Oh no, I'm not really concerned about it. But we've been watching. The first one we did was Age of Ultron. We watched that the night of we recorded the last podcast. Movie's great. That's a great movie.
You might be the first person I know who describes Age of Ultron as a great movie.
I love that movie. It's so good.
I'm glad you liked it. Like, that's not a thing. Like, I'm not attacking you on saying, like, like, how dare you like Age of Ultron. I feel like I like Age of Ultron more than most people. I don't know if I call it a great movie.
Why would people not like Age of Ultron? I mean, it's
most
fun.
people don't like the film at all.
It's fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
I think it's just because of how much of a letdown it was compared to, like, the first Avengers, which I don't agree.
I don't agree with that either.
I think it's better than the first Avengers is... I think the first one's better, but I think part of the problem is like I have read comics. I do know Ultron.
Yeah,
it does frustrate me how he's so jokey in this movie.
I enjoy
it does frustrate. Well, I mean he's likable. It's just he doesn't feel like Ultron at all to me, which I can put away from. It's one of those things. It's like it's like a knee jerk. Like why?
Weird decision. Yeah.
Like why did they make him seem so scary in the trailers if he was going to be Jokey McJokester?
It's true.
Like they set him up differently in the trailers than he was in the actual movie, which I think did the movie a disservice.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It
kind of reminds me of Iron Man 3 in that regard in a lot of ways, because the trailers for that movie made it seem like a super serious drama, and that movie is silly as fuck.
Yeah.
I like how that turned out though.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm a huge fan of Iron Man 3.
I think Iron Man 2 is better.
Which is a preposterous statement. Easily the worst.
I was trying to brace myself for hate comments, but I hit the mic.
I'll use the mic to fight off the haters.
No, okay. So yeah, Age of Ultron was. I mean, I enjoyed it. And I understand references more now because I haven't. I mean, the reason like I've slowly been going through the movies in the MCU that I haven't seen. I still haven't seen Captain America: The First Avenger.
It's okay.
Which I don't really care.
I love that movie. Okay. You can skip it.
Yeah, everyone has always said that. So I'm like
all the importance of Peggy and stuff is very much lost.
Yeah.
By not seeing it, so it's like, oh, okay, I don't care that much about like Cap and trying to get back to all that shit. But like it is not a must watch. I do like that movie. It feels like a movie made to be like, hoorah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm mad about is that I didn't watch these movies before I saw Infinity War.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't do that.
I mean, I said I was going to. I just never put aside the time to do it.
You should have.
I should have. No, I definitely should have. I would have gotten much more out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed Infinity War, and I got a lot of things, like references and things, despite not having seen previous movies. I understood it all. But it's like the emotional connection I would have, because like Hawkeye, I'm like, fucking Hawkeye, I don't care shit about Hawkeye. But in Age of Ultron, I'm like, oh, he's funny.
Yeah.
Like, I like him.
I mean, Age of Ultron. Sorry, go Cheyenne.
Oh, I was going to say, I forgot a lot of like character development and character personality development happened in that movie, especially with like Hawkeye. Because I remember I loved Hawkeye, but I could not remember like, where did this come from? Because I haven't seen Age of Ultron in a long time.
It's all Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and it's like all Age of Ultron.
And there was the whole...
It's his movie.
There's the whole Banner Natasha romance that I had no idea. And I watched Ragnarok. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like, what is this message? I'm like...
Yeah.
When did he take the Quinjet? Like, where did he go? What happened? But yeah, so I mentioned that. I was like, when Hulk took the Quinjet and fucked off, I was like, oh, he's gone for like 3 movies.
Yep.
And Cheyenne was like, no. And I'm like, no, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I forgot. It really is a lot.
It's like he's gone.
Yeah.
He misses Civil War. He
really
misses like what's after that?
I don't remember the order.
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, there's a lot of standalone movies.
Yeah. But I mean, Civil War was like the notable one that.
I mean, it's not a standalone movie. But like, yeah, no. I mean, there's Civil War, and then we get like Doctor Strange and like like fucking Spider, like a bunch of movies before Ragnarok comes out.
Oh, like 4 or 5, yeah.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Because if you look at the proportion of movies in phase 1, 2, and 3, phases 1 and 2 are about as long as phase 3. Phase 3 has so many fucking movies in it.
Yeah. Phase 3 is where it goes crazy.
And it's also where it gets best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard time going back to phase 1.
Phase 1 feels so old.
Yeah.
I will say though, after watching the first half of Inception last night, that I was like, "Hey, Doctor Strange!" When they started collapsing on us up,
and I was like, "Wait, but this came out first."
I was like, "Oh, I know that."
It definitely came out first,
but it's very.
That's why all of the trailers when people were when the Doctor Strange trailers came out, like Inception.
Yeah.
Every time they start doing like the perception tricks and stuff like that, where it's like when he's explaining like the infinite staircases and stuff, and it like pans down, like there's moments like that in Doctor Strange too, and you're just like,
yeah.
I know where you got this, Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish that movie when I'm in a better headspace.
Yeah, I mean, definitely be in the right place because no, dude, that gets real crazy in the second.
Yeah,
half. What was the last thing you saw in Inception?
They had just entered the major dream, and they're about to go to
they're about to go to level 2. Or they're in the warehouse when
I
think they're about to go to level 2.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, this gets much more problematic for you probably for the second half of the film.
Yeah, I totally forgot the entirety of that movie until we started watching it again, and I was like, oh man, no wonder I like blocked this from my brain. There was a reason. And then it just all started coming back to me as I was watching. I was like, no wonder I never wanted to go back.
Yeah, if I had known what you were going through, I definitely would have warned you.
Okay.
Because that movie is intense, and that
that ending.
Well, it's not just the ending. It's everything. It's literally Cobb's entire journey throughout that movie, and like his backstory is so integral to that problem. God damn it, give me focus.
Okay, but then we also that was Sunday. Yeah.
Age of Ultron?
Yeah, next day was Memorial Day.
No, I think we watched that on Memorial Day.
What did we watch
on Sunday? Baking
Sunday?
cookies. Oh wait, no, you're right. Sunday then,
Yeah.
because I was
She
baking
baked
cookies.
They came out flat.
Bacon cookies.
Stupid gluten-free flour.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Aw.
Then on Monday was Memorial Day. We had a nice barbecue.
Yeah, I did
Nice.
cooking. I made food. I can cook.
And we watched
I was here alone.
Oh,
something.
My family went out to a barbecue I didn't want to go to.
Fair enough.
we watched So Random
Oh.
on one day.
No, that was the same day as Age of Ultron.
Yes, you're right. Oh,
No, we
Maybe
watched
So
So Random. We watched Sunny with a Chance. Come
Sunny
on.
with a Chance.
There,
Right.
that is a
Dang
different
it.
thing.
Yeah.
That is.
I didn't know that they made a spinoff.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Cheyenne was
so
like, "Is that
random.
so random or Sunny with a Chance?" I'm like, "It's so random in Sunny with a Chance." What's the question here? I'm confused.
Yeah, because I only saw the skit part, so I was like, "Wait, is this So Random or is it Sunny with
Yeah,
a Chance?"
we were watching that. I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen this in years." And she started singing the theme song. I'm like, "Oh, I don't remember this at all."
My memory's great.
Yeah, but we watched a few episodes of that, and then went to Age of Ultron.
Yes.
She was baking. She's like, "Oh, I don't have to pay attention to as much as I've already seen it." I'm like, "Okay, fair enough." Watch that. Next day, we watched.
Oh, that was the Rooster Teeth stand up.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That was the day we missed.
we didn't watch a movie. We watched Kind of Funny and Rooster Teeth employees do stand
Stand
up.
up.
Stand up.
Yeah,
Yep.
that came out that day, I think.
I think so. I definitely watched that too.
And the next day,
Yes, Chase.
Back to the Future.
We watched
Yay!
Back to the Future.
Yeah, which is
It's about damn time.
fucking weird. And the next day, you watch Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, yeah,
Oh,
we did.
Yeah,
Back to
we
the
did.
Future Part 2.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, we skipped another day.
We did.
What did we do that other day?
We
I don't
definitely
even
watched-
remember.
I thought we watched another movie. Whatever. Because I thought we watched a movie every day except for 2 days.
Every day except for the days that were the days.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we watched Back to the Future. I was gonna say Phil the Future.
Phil.
Let's fill the future. Is that what you wanted us to watch, Kyle? It was like your favorite thing.
So
To be fair, I actually did really like Phil the
I have
Future.
problems with this movie. I will say I have problems.
I will say
Okay.
that this was a way better movie than I thought it was going to be.
It was a good movie.
Thank you.
No, it was an enjoyable movie. It was a good time.
I'd watch it again.
Sure,
Okay.
but
This is why
No.
I said, Chase, that I was afraid I'd be annoyed with you.
if you go in there with a brain,
Oh, you know, it doesn't make
Oh,
any
I
sense.
didn't do that.
makes no damn fucking sense. Ow!
I warned you
Chase.
about
It
this.
makes
fact.
no sense.
Freaking Chase just
To be fair,
clicked.
Ow!
I warned you about that.
I don't
He
remember.
did. He told. That's why I didn't go in with a brain.
No, I was just like, huh? No, I mean you did because we were
did.
bashing on it.
I know,
during,
but it's fun when we bash on
we
things.
were like, what the fuck? That doesn't make no sense.
No one thinks the time travel in Back to the Future makes any goddamn sense, man. Like,
Oh, that wasn't
that's
my
not the
issue.
point of the movie.
my issue was other things.
Yeah.
But like, it's cute because it's just kind of part of the movie.
Okay, no. So an issue I do have with the movie that doesn't really have to
Okay.
make sense but it like I'm just like
Yes, Chase.
everyone in this fucking movie is so damn gullible. Hey, what's over there? Every time it works. Every time
Stop clipping. You're hurting my ears.
it worked every time.
See, I would agree that was annoying, but I think it's cutesy and like just part of
Yeah.
the like it's the 50s, man.
But I mean, like it didn't. I mean, it was that one time in Back to the Future 2 where Griff catches his hand, but still, I mean, he looked. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, again,
I'm not gonna fall for
that is
that.
the whole point, though. The movie is kind of like silly and it exists in a heightened state of reality. Like,
But then
It's
Biff is
not-
the one is like, hello, don't be so gullible. It's like, you're the gullible one.
that's half the joke.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I feel like Chase was expecting actual high art
Yeah.
and not like a super like cutesy, like fun little sci-fi
Like,
adventure
oh, this
movie.
is my favorite movie.
It is one of
I'm
my
thinking
favorite
it's gonna
movies.
be high art. It's gonna be a good movie.
It is I think it's pretty
I didn't
good.
say it was the best movie ever made. I said it was one of my favorite movies
be
ever
fair-
made, motherfucker.
What's one of my favorite movies that isn't really good?
Yeah,
Oh,
we all have these
a
movies.
lot.
A lot?
Well, no, okay. The difference here is that you like.
And your Iron Man 2 is the best Iron Man
that's true.
movie.
There you go. That's one. And then you also like stupid comedy. That's just not my thing. So like,
Austin Powers is hilarious.
Okay.
Kyle will attest.
Austin Powers is hilarious. I will stand by you on that.
I watched some of it. It's okay.
This is not your thing. That's totally fine.
It's not your bag, baby.
Oh God. The voice is back.
It's not my bag. Sweet.
Get in my belly.
That's the second one.
Yeah, I know.
I
know Fat Bastard
She didn't get
doesn't
past
show
the
up until
first
the
like
sequel.
half of the first one.
Was it even half?
I don't know, like 10 minutes probably.
Maybe more. But Christopher Lloyd, because while watching the movie, I was like, I know this actor.
Uncle Fester, yeah.
Yeah. So once Chase revealed that he plays Uncle Fester, that's all I could see.
No, yeah, I was saying that after that, I'm like, oh, I half expect Joan Cusack to pop up.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so where's Joan Cusack? She the mother's friend or something?
Oh, my legs. Oh, I did too much exercise.
Can't keep up, honey.
We exercised really, for like 2 hours this morning. Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
like that's my
very
regular
proud of
though.
I know.
It's-
Oh yeah, but it was super weird. We're like with the parents. You're like, why do they look so weird? Like they have highly prosthetics, and then they go back to the 50s. Like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
And I was like, oh,
loved-
it's creepy thin man.
Yeah.
Yes.
But young. And somehow
young, creepy
still
thin
just
man.
as creepy.
Yep. So what I love about that movie is when I was young, I thought they had old people and they made them look really young. Because I was a dumb kid.
Nice.
Now, obviously, they had young people that they made look old.
Yeah.
Oh man! And if you think I know you've seen it, so you're like, that the older version makeup of them for like the '80s section that doesn't look great. Oh, just
It's not.
wait till 2010 where they look like fucking caricature monsters.
So weird.
Yeah, and with
Did you guys? So fun fact: did you guys notice in Back to the Future 2? Crispin Glover, George McFly, he was not actually in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did notice.
Do you know anything about the behind the scenes for that?
No.
Yeah, like he refused to come back because like he didn't think he was going to get paid enough.
Oh, okay.
No, to be fair, there's some stuff going on there.
Well, I'm sure.
But at the same time, like, and then he sued them for trying to like fake that he was in the movie and using his likeness. So yeah, fun times.
What was I gonna say? So like when they,
Yeah.
I lost it.
Oh no.
Something about them jumping in time.
What?
I don't know, man.
What did you say though? What was that sentence?
I don't know, or something about them jumping in time.
Yeah.
I don't know, like something. So they went to the 50s, and they had to go back to the future.
Yeah.
Back to the future.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's he's in 1985. He gets sent back to 1955, and then now he needs to get back to the future of 1985. Thus the title.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. The mom. It's
yes.
Whenever
thirsty.
they. Oh no, she's super thirsty. No, in 1985, I think it was in the second one, in the alternate 1985.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it might be also when she was normally aged.
What are you gonna say?
Her voice. She does a voice to like fake being old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like, you don't just use a voice. Use your regular voice. You're making it more high pitched. It sounds even worse. Like.
Okay, so so in the first movie, she does kind of put on like an older voice, and it's a little distracting. No, in alternate 1985 and part 2, it sounds like her intention was like, well, I've been smoking for 30.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even sound like that.
I think she does. Marty!
I kind of liked it. It was kind of funny.
Mom, you're so big.
Big.
Oh my, it's like
Yeah.
in the first one where she's trying to like be thirsty with her son, and in the second one she's like, you have boobs. I'm like, oh, it's all kinds of nope.
Yep. Oh, I know, but at the same time, it's silly.
You think I wanted these things? What the fuck she says about her boobs? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, you're safe back here on the 48th floor or whatever. 48th floor. Okay. So,
What was it like? They're like, oh, I felt like I've seen this before or something. Where it's like it's the same. It was like the opening scene of going into the future was the same as the first movie.
I mean, they do a lot of fun stuff. But like the first movie in particular, I think yes, the time travel shit does not make sense by any basic understanding of time travel.
Doesn't make a damn lick of sense.
But it is consistent within its own narrative.
I don't think so. There was a reason, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, this doesn't make sense for like whatever. But there was an inconsistency.
There was.
That I picked up, and I'm like, that makes no fucking sense.
It was between the first and second movie, right?
Yeah, there was like...
Okay, yeah. No, to be fair, there are problems holding... I was saying just in the first movie, it's narratively consistent. When you go to the second and third movies, there are definitely like... It's a little like, you're like, okay, I don't know if that's quite accurate, or like that sort of stuff. But that's because like the second and third movies, first of all, were filmed back to back, and they were released like 6 months apart.
Yeah.
And so those two very much function as like a duology, compared to like the first one, which is, obviously made to be standalone, disregarding the to be continued joke at the end of the movie. Like when you guys watch the movie, when they flew away, it's like to be continued.
Yeah.
That was not legit. That was a joke.
Interesting. And then they
didn't actually plan on making a sequel.
Well, I'm guessing that because the girlfriend didn't come back. I was like, when the second movie started, Shia was like, did they recast? And I was like, definitely. And they just redid the scene. I was like, yeah, no, they definitely redid that scene because Christopher Lloyd did not say that in the first one.
Yeah.
Like he did it differently. Change. It was like,
or a tone change?
Yeah, it's like something changed. I don't know. Oh, but what I was one inconsistency was the money thing. And I was like, oh, it seems like a thing where in the second one, they're like, oh, we'll put this in because like it fills a plot hole in the first one. Where Marty goes back in time and then just has money, like has era appropriate money to buy clothes.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh yeah, like I have money from every era in case I go to whatever. It's like, did in the first one.
Okay, no, to be fair though, he did buy all those clothes with Doc. So, but Doc from the 50s, it's possible Doc paid for the clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be it's not explained in the movie at all. I never even thought about that being a problem. But, but like that is an understandable reason why that happened.
No, because he goes to the shop to pay for to get a Pepsi, and they don't have whatever. He's like, it's gonna be something with sugar in it. He pays. Yeah. He gives him money.
You're right.
He does.
You're right. Okay, that's fair. Maybe he just happened to have 1955 coins on him.
Does Pepsi sponsor this movie? I wonder.
I wonder.
The product placement.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder.
Okay, so I mean that's fair. That is definitely a plot hole I never paid attention to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find, I enjoy the fun ride, and I do enjoy how, again, like, especially if you're just looking at the first movie as its own self-contained tale, like, everything in that movie, everything that happens has a payoff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I enjoy that about it. Yeah. I was like,
it is smartly constructed. In just so far as they go, well, this is how time travel works here, I guess. You do slowly fade away and watch as your siblings vanish from pictures. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying about that. I'm like, oh, it's convenient that he's the third child.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, they probably like named the kid after, like now they named the son after the person that brought them together. But it's like, oh, not the first, like not your firstborn, the third born.
Third kid. I know. It's
Marty, I like that name. Yeah, for your third born.
Yeah.
For your third child.
I don't like it enough to be a first.
They named him after George's mom, like dad and mom. Then we're like, fuck it, let's just name this one Marty. He looks like he'll look exactly like this kid that brought us together 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'll never get confused about that fact at all.
So weird. Now, they look identical.
Yeah, now if it was the first child, if I were George, I'd be like, you fucking sleep with him?
You're right.
Yeah.
Really weird how this kid looks exactly like that friend I made for a week 30 years ago. Which, now, to be fair, is the defense on why people are like, why they're like, well, why don't they ever get confused? He looks just like fucking Calvin Klein. It's because realistically, it has been 30 years and they knew this kid for a week.
I mean, the mother was infatuated with this boy. Like,
I
she
know,
was thirsty.
I get it. It's weird. But
fucking ocean.
Yeah. But like they did again, it was 30 years ago. Chase,
yeah, I understand.
Do you remember what people look like that you met for a week 15 years ago?
I don't know if that's a fair assessment because I was 7.
Fair enough. 10 years ago. Let's just say, even at work, there was somebody who worked there for a week and then left. Even if, like, you know,
I'm good with faces.
Yeah,
I recognize people.
Pretty good at faces. He probably won't know their name though.
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. Hey,
and also, like, you know, you're steadily watching.
Well, I mean, to be fair, also, he was the one that brought them together. He would be an important person to remember.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be like, oh, he's the reason that we're together and now we're married.
But it's not, I'm not saying you'd forget that he existed. And they probably remember his name, but they probably wouldn't remember exactly what he looked like. Human memory and human brains don't work like that.
No.
But like, it's just like, it's always been like a funny little thing. It's like, yeah, that guy looks exactly like the kid that brought you together 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, because it's the same person.
I mean, here's a fun fact. You can't make up faces. In your dreams specifically. Like, in your dreams, any faces of like passersby that you go by, it's people that you've seen in your life. Mm-hmm. Reconstructed.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was watching Inception. I'm like, huh.
Me too.
I was like, all these people like must have been people that he's seen when he's awake.
I was thinking that too.
Now, I love the first Back to the Future movie. Back to the Future 2, I've said before, is 50% not good at all, 50% really fun.
Back to the Future 2?
I think now that you've seen it, yeah.
I like that.
I think now that you've seen it.
I liked it.
I do not like the shit in the future.
I mean, it's
okay,
dumb,
the future
but it's
the future is a thing.
I feel like as soon as they travel back to the alternate 1985, I feel like the movie gets so much better.
Yeah, okay. I can agree.
Because I feel like suddenly it feels kind of like it has the same urgency and point the first movie did. Because like the first chunk of that second movie, I just think is so dumb. Like nothing that happens in the future really makes a lot of sense. And it feels like it's a whole movie where it's like, look at this future tech we came up with. Like, oh, how fun is it? We have like fucking, you reheat a pizza. Or like, nobody reheats it like you, grandma.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck?
That's weird.
The fucking adjustable arm, like jackets. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
And like the same button
it's
that
like,
sizes you, fucking dries you. It's like, you are now dry.
It's like, it just felt like somebody sat around, had a really fun idea coming up with a lot of weird future tech.
2015.
And then they made a whole like chunk of the movie around it.
I mean, they kind of got the shoes right. But like
kind of
like basketball shoes in 2015. They were
Oh yeah,
super funny.
But you know, it's just other than that, it was just like you're like, okay, I get you. Like, you feel really proud of yourself. There's a lot of just dumb shit that doesn't make sense. It's like, Marty, I can travel at any point in time, and I'm going to try and save your kid for making a stupid decision and not give a shit about the accident that ruined your life.
Yeah.
That they talk about many times in this movie. It's like, and even where like freaking Lorraine's like, that's where it all went wrong. It's like that accident. And you're just like, Doc, come on. That feels like the focal point of a lot of problems. And you're literally treating a symptom instead of curing the disease.
Yeah, I was.
And now, to be fair, you haven't seen the third movie yet.
I know. I was assuming they were going to pay off at some point.
But yeah, you know, it's still it's one of those things where like that doesn't make a lot of sense. It feels like my problem with the movie is it feels like they had a really good idea for a movie, but they were constrained by the ending of the first one that teased the sequel they weren't planning on making. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, well, hey, we got to go to the future to save your kids. You come along too, girlfriend, because like you'll be important. And then immediately when they're writing the script, they're like, fuck, we really don't want her here.
Yeah, they just drop her off on her doorstep in a really bad neighborhood, and they just forget about her.
Never go back. They're like, no, she'll be fine.
Like, she'll be fine. I mean, technically, she's in the right time now. But like,
well, yeah, but that's the thing. How does that make any fucking sense? They're like, look, if we change these, like, but wait, Jennifer's still here. Like, if we change,
because she was taken out of time, brought back into an alternate time, and then you go back again to change time again.
Also, the dog was left there too.
Oh, I knew he was in a little. He was like, I don't remember what he said, but he was like,
I could kind of believe better. Like Einstein, I can kind of believe it more. But she was literally just sitting on a porch, and apparently the universe changed around her to justify why she was going to be okay. It's nonsense. It's pure nonsense. But I do feel like so much of the first act of that movie, everything that happens in 2015, is them desperately trying to just be like, well, we're not going to disregard the sequel we teased, but it's not the story we want to tell, so we're going to use it as an exciting incident to set up the actual story we want to tell about Biff and like the almanac and all that shit.
oh god.
And so like I enjoy the story as it goes. And like once old Biff gets the almanac, and once like, you know, he travels back, he gives it to young Biff. Like I like the journey they go on. I like the alternate 1985. And how totally fucked up dystopian it is because of Biff. Like, holy shit, what the fuck?
Yeah. There was something though about the dystopian 1985 and that Biff that I had an issue with. I don't remember what it was. I was like, why? Like, this doesn't make sense. I forget what it was though.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. I don't know.
But like I enjoy like the scenes between like Marty and alternate Biff. Like he's just the scummiest, worst person on earth. But like I really enjoy that scene.
He's a giant.
Yeah, but I really enjoy that scene though, where they're kind of like coming clean, and he's like, you know, an old man told me that there's gonna be either a kid or an old man who's gonna like ask me about this, and I need to kill. And just something about that scene, like I've always liked that scene, and obviously we have the super iconic scene that has been copied so many times up on the roof, where he like takes the step off, and then like the DeLorean comes up. That was what every other version of that has been stolen from. That was the original version of that classic moment. So like for you, you're watching it now, you're like, oh, I'm guessing he's gonna get caught by the DeLorean or something. That's why he steps off. Like I've seen Aladdin. I've seen.
My first thought was
Aladdin.
Yeah, but like I've seen this done 1,000 times. It's like, but that was like a really like, oh fuck, cool kind of a moment.
Yeah.
When this was released, because it's like this like brazen awesome moment with like the DeLorean flying up. And then yeah, as soon as they go back to 1955 and become Avengers Endgame, like it's a great time. So this is why like I couldn't really talk about, because like it's really clear that the second half of Back to the Future 2 was a huge inspiration for their idea behind a good chunk of the second half of Endgame.
Ah, yeah.
Because it's the same kind of thing. It's them going
yourself.
back in the past, hiding from the alternate versions of themselves, and trying to like, you know, like basically like time heist this shit.
Oh, so okay, in the first one, when that's I remember, because they're like trying to avoid your no, actually, no, it was in the second one, because Doc went back with Marty to alternate or to 1955, and he's like, "Don't run into your own."
The two Docs.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, he wouldn't know his own fucking voice. He wouldn't hear it twice, like, or like know the fucking side of his head, or like, because he's behind a pole.
To be fair,
but how thick is that pole? Like, is it coming in the hole?
No, to be fair, human beings hear their voices differently than they actually sound.
If I heard a
And
recording of myself, I would.
Yeah, but you record yourself all the time. You kind of know what your voice should sound like versus what you think it sounds like because of like, you know, it bouncing around in your skull before getting to your fucking brain.
That's true. And
so it's possible he may not, but he was also very distracted by trying to make that experiment work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also like rationalized it to where like he's walking away and then he turns and sees him. I'm like, you could think that's him, but at the same time, he was so adamant about not knowing future things. He probably was like, I'm not going to question it. It's probably myself, but I'm not going to question it.
Yeah. And I think that's totally believable too. Like that would feel totally in line with Doc, who's like, there's like a 50% chance that was me.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
But then again, he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to reconstruct this letter and read it. Cause you know,
but to be fair, that could have been done. That could have been actually done later. I mean, I know he would have to gather up the pieces of the letter, but like, I mean, you know,
yeah, because he was like, oh, I'm so stuck on this.
It would actually be a funny problem. Here'd be a funny problem if he did put the letter together, and it's like, Doc, you die. Doc would be like, well, no, I don't. I just walked by. I'm good. I don't need a bulletproof vest.
It's true.
I don't know. Time travel shenanigans. But you know, I just find these movies so fun. I feel like they're very silly. but like they feel like, despite the incest subplot, it feels like they're right, their heart's in the right place.
The fucking dad in the regular 1985 is weird. Crispin Glover is so weird. Just like,
it's because he's a weird dude.
And he's just like, he's like watching TV, like.
Well, but to be fair, that's in the beginning. He's supposed to be like this lame loser, goofy guy. Weird.
I know. And that was the thing where when she was telling the story about how they met, and he was kind of just like not paying attention. I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna touch on like he wasn't proud of what he was doing when when they first met. I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened. And then he's peeping Tom.
Peeping on, yeah, I know. He's just not a good person. No, but I find the first movie like so fun and charming, even if there's cultural appropriation going on and all this other stuff. Yeah, White Man totally made Johnny be good.
Yeah, that's okay. I mentioned that when we were watching it. I'm like, this is why people don't like this movie or like this scene about it. It's like it's always what's it called? White Man's Burden or some shit. It's like.
Burden. Oh my god!
Like, oh, you have to educate these minorities. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
But still,
it's taking credit for like rock music. It's like rock music was made by black people.
Yes, it was.
Don't take it away from. Oh, god damn it!
Stop.
It's okay. It's okay. Now, fun fact: a prevailing fan theory that does make a shitload of sense and is dark, but doesn't actually impact the film at all. So the great scene in part 2 where Marty is, in the tunnel with Biff. He's about to get run over, and then Doc drops down the thing just in time to save him. And you question, how the fuck did Doc know to be right there, right at that time? Well, here's the dark thought. Maybe he didn't the first couple times. The advantage of being able to have perfect timing when you have a time machine. You just have to fail a couple times first.
I like that.
I figured you kind of would.
How many versions of Marty died?
That makes so much more sense.
He's like, wow, he had perfect timing. He was right in the right spot at the right time. And then people are like, well, he does have a time machine and might have fucked up a few times first.
It's super fun.
He's like,
yeah. What Rick and Morty really extrapolates from the
Yeah, I feel like Rick and Morty is so much more enjoyable once you kind of get this kind of slightly more pure version of it where they're like, we're just gonna bastardize the shit out of this concept.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, because I was watching the other night also the career of
who?
Justin Roiland.
Okay.
And like, yeah, his career throughout the years. And then when he got to Rick and Morty, he was talking about like how he like in the past and kind of like because it was a show before Rick and Morty, like it was like it was like a really stupid version of it, but it was the same characters. And he was like, oh yeah, like it was mostly for shock value, like one of those kind of shows where it's like you just like disgusting shit and like random whatever, doesn't make any sense, whatever. And he said it's really fun to do. But for Rick and Morty, he like instead of doing just like dumb shit for the hell of it, he was saying like, oh, there's actually more like depth behind it and like meaning from it, like existentially and like all these questions that are raised. And I'm like, it's really interesting and fascinating once you like go layers deep.
Oh yeah, and you can keep going layers deep in Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Like, you can just enjoy it on the base level, stupid shock value, like, oh god, that's so wacky. And then you can like actually look at it like intellectually and you're like, well, there's something here. Yeah. It's very stupid in so many ways, but like there is like, it feels like every episode of Rick and Morty takes like, it's like a seed of like a really smart and interesting question or topic. And they're like, how can we grow the stupidest tree from that?
Yeah.
Like in a good way, and like in a very purposeful way. It's like this is dumb in a smart way. Yeah. So you've now seen the first 2 Back to the Future movies. Now eventually you will get to the third one, widely considered the least good.
I thought so. Yeah,
I really like Back to the Future 3, but again, a lot of people don't. It's mostly a Western.
Yeah.
And so if you like Westerns, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, because we watched Back to the Future on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
No, Wednesday, and then Back to the Future 2 on Thursday. Friday we had D&D, so we didn't watch a movie. And then Saturday, I'm like, oh, tomorrow's the podcast. We said we were going to watch all the movies on the list before the podcast, so let's watch Inception. Should have watched Back to the Future 3.
I did suggest it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, oh,
that would not have caused you existential dread.
No, probably not. But yeah, or actually, no, I was gonna mention, because with Age of Ultron, after watching that now, I unknowingly made a reference in our last D&D session.
Yes.
To because I play a Warforged, so basically, man made of metal and other compounds, but my character doesn't have a sense of smell. He doesn't need to eat or drink. And I made a joke about like I can't throw up in my mouth, but if I would, I could, or something. And then like everyone started laughing. I'm like, oh, it's a funny joke, yeah. And then one of our friends was like, oh, like I love that scene in Ultron. I was like, what? He's like, oh, he really is Ultron. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I watched Age of Ultron the other night. I'm like, get it. I made that joke unknowingly.
You and the writer were on the same wavelength.
Yeah. But then everyone was noticing that in this last session, they're like, oh, I thought I knew Vulcan as a character. And then all of a sudden he's like,
oh my gosh,
striking fear into children and like super dark and shit. And I'm like, I'm taking inspiration from Ultron.
You took a turn. Your character took a turn I did not expect.
I probably Chase didn't even really.
Yeah, I think it just naturally happened. And
after the session ended and people said that, I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, actually, yeah, I just realized like I went in a different direction, but I like it. I'm going to stick in that direction.
Great. It naturally happened. It's natural character development.
Yeah.
Every time I've ever played a character in D&D, there's the character's idea that I had who they were going to be when I went in, and then there's a character that actually was created 3 sessions in.
Yeah, I made the point because everyone was like, "Oh, why is it like he's bad or whatever?" I'm like, hey, I'm lawful neutral," and Kyle's like, "Lawful neutral." The alignment every lawful evil person says they are.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, because I mean. I'm very interested in this character, and even more so now because I took a level in fighter, so I'm gonna be fucking smacking shit with my Warhammer.
Yep.
But I'm very excited to continue our campaign because I wanted to have a second day this week. So I'm like, I want to play.
You noticed that? I'm just like, I forgot to answer. Like, I'm down to find a day to play. Okay, cool. But you're just like, hey, anybody want to play another session this week? I'm like,
we missed last week, so I mean, naturally.
I know.
He's very excited about his character, which I mean, it's great.
Which is good. Yeah, I mean, I love my character.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. So Kyle's character is a halfling rogue that has an Irish accent, right? And he speaks with an Irish accent. Oh. And I made a point that they noticed that whenever when people talk, especially like his character of Kellen would talk, you'd see Vulcan, my character, just like mouthing the words and like maybe you can hear it under your breath. And the point of that was that I was mimicking your speech, like to understand like people's expressive patterns and like their voices, because he's not human or not really he's humanoid, I guess, but yeah, doesn't necessarily understand emotions all that well. And I was gonna actually just start mimicking your accent and just like have his voice be like like just like maybe play from here, take from here, that kind of thing, and just like have an accent. But I'm like, oh, that doesn't really fit my character anymore, so I don't think I do that.
Would have been interesting though.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll just throw that in there and see if like what happens. But yeah, he's just
good old Kellen is. I think Kellen is actually the one character who I knew exactly who he was going to be before I started playing, and that has not changed.
Yeah. I mean, he's very consistent. He's nothing if not consistent.
Yeah.
But I think I'll like having a deep, menacing, intimidating voice. That's like
I do kind of like the interplay between our characters.
Oh yeah, especially the last.
Both of us are hugely frustrated by the way the other person approaches problems.
I know, it's very interesting. And then we have another character who's just in every D&D campaign I've played in with him, he's always kind of the consistent, like, okay, guys, like middleman.
The middleman. Yeah, he's the mediator.
Yeah. Yep. He never sets out to be, but he always ends up being that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super funny. I mean, to be fair, we captured a goblin. I didn't care if he lived or died. I kind of
I get it.
suggested taking him as a slave, which we kind of did. But
he's not a slave. He can leave whenever he wants.
Yeah, it's like
it's just he's doomed if he leaves us.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't condone slavery, but my character, I mean, he's neutral. He doesn't care. It's just like he has no moral good or bad. It's like keep him around.
Yeah,
have him do shit.
Yeah, and like Kellen, his whole thing is he's like, look, I just want to let this thing go. I don't want to deal with it. But then he's like, do you even know how to like feed yourself, or do you know where to sleep? And this thing's like has no idea. It's lived in servitude its whole life. It would die as soon as I let it out. And Kellen, who is a good character, is like, damn it, fine. Come with us if you want to. We'll help take care of you.
Yeah. Super fun.
So now we have a goblin friend who I'm trying to teach basic hand-eye coordination to, so we won't be the most useless thing on the planet. By the end, I swear, I'm going to get this thing to get one level of rogue.
You're trying to make him a rogue.
Just what? Well, I mean, that's what I know.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. But I mean, I did mention, I said in the group chat. So my character, like I said, is a Warforged. He's a Warforged cleric of the Forge.
Yes.
Super tanky. Like, if I really wanted to, my AC would be 22, which is crazy.
It's very, very high.
It's a very high.
And now, to be fair,
class.
With your build, you could have gotten it to 23 if you decided.
Yeah, now I could.
Now with your one level fighter dip.
Mm-hmm. And even if I had what was it, defense fighting style, I would be even higher.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. But I do want to do damage, so I took a level in fighter, and then I'm gonna do 2 more in cleric, and then
probably just
do
fighter.
The rest in fighter. Yeah. It depends on how long we play. Which I mean,
it really does.
I'm down for playing, like, for seeing this out all the way, but
it really just depends on my schedule once work starts back up.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'll make time. But.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try. It's just like I now have 3 things I need to like make requests around. It would be 2 different games of D&D and this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
If we would like move. If we could be like, let's just not work Sundays.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, we can decide like move
Sunday.
Yeah, move 2 things into one day. But then like that wouldn't work for Cheyenne unless it's a weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do the weekend. It's fine. Probably. I have Sundays off anyway.
I don't, but I could probably make it happen.
Yeah, I have Sundays off. I mean, if they still honor my availability. Yeah, so we'll be fine.
Yep.
Or do I have Wednesdays off? We moved it to Sunday.
I have Wednesdays off right now.
No, you moved it to Sunday.
Oh no, I have Sundays off and then Wednesday off before 6.
Yeah.
This is not important enough to be in the podcast.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. But I mean, it's check on your friends. Play D&D with them. Yes,
it's a great way to spend time with your friends in a way that feels very like, loosey-goosey relaxing, but you're still there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of time for having fun interactions before and after if you want to.
Yeah.
And so so for other than the existential dread it caused in you for the first half of Inception, Chase, how did you feel about the movie?
I enjoyed it.
I don't know how you can separate that feeling from the film you were watching.
I mean, I enjoyed this, like the storytelling and the cinematography and the narrative.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was very interesting, and so I'm
Yeah. Now, to be fair, you are about to get to the point where the movie gets totally crazy.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Okay. Good. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Cheyenne said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I like it more than I thought I would, because the first time,
I had a feeling you might.
Yeah, I think my problem with the first time, I was a little too young, and then trying to also explain it to my mom, who did not understand what was happening, so I couldn't pay attention
in real time.
Yeah, in real time. It was a lot happening on top of a lot happening.
That's why you got to take her into a dream to have that time dilation.
Oh
that
my
way you'll
gosh.
have more time to explain what's going on.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's wild.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in Tenet now too. I mean, I was like we discussed last week. But yeah.
You're more interested.
What got us here?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we technically never got past what we were doing this week, but
Yeah.
that was kind of the plan to begin with.
Yeah. It's gonna be about Back to the Future. It's probably title's gonna be or some shit.
Yeah,
but
you guys finally watched the first 2 Back to the Future movies.
yes,
It's about damn time.
Back to the Future in review. No,
No, kind of funny. You already did that.
they're doing Lord of the Rings.
They are. They did the first part
And
of
Fellowship.
the first one.
Yeah, Cheyenne and I still need to watch, but I mean,
Will that happen?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we agreed that when we move in together, that's the first movie we're gonna watch. But I mean, I'm not opposed to before that. All right. Well, everybody have a great week. Stay safe.
Yes, for many different reasons.
Yes.
There's nothing like a bunch of like protests and riots where a bunch of people are getting really close to each other during a pandemic.
Yeah, that's yesterday. Cheyenne mentioned was the highest increase in coronavirus cases in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which I mean, okay, the dog's gonna start.
Yeah, those probably partially due to backlog.
Yeah.
Testing.
And I mean, I've been of the opinion that it's too early to reopen, but I understand the economy. But
yes,
at the same time, I mean,
I feel like this is going to.
Don't go out.
I feel like all of these protests and stuff, like I understand how important protesting is. I understand the point. It's just, you have to go out there understanding you're putting yourself at risk on multiple reasons and way more than you should be, which sucks.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason I didn't go down. And I'm honestly, I'm super glad I didn't end up going down to LA yesterday. That was a nightmare from everything I could hear. Like on every side.
No, yeah. I my friend had a Snapchat story updated and I was watching this morning. I'm like, oh shit.
It got out of control really badly.
Very much out of control.
And then I have friends who, had reasons to be concerned when ICE showed up.
Oh. I didn't know they showed up.
Yeah.
Well.
And also the fun fact that, the curfew was in effect. Everybody needed to be out by 8. And then they started barricading the roads so people couldn't leave. Oh. To force arrests. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Well,
I saw a lot of police vehicles destroyed in the process of being destroyed and burning. Yeah.
It was a mess.
That was the middle of the day.
Yeah. I'm really glad I didn't go down there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I respect the people who were down there. I especially respect the people who were down there protesting peacefully and not the shitty people who took advantage of that protest to cause chaos. Because, let's be honest, there were some bad actors down there who really went down there just to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
To escalate the situation for their own personal gain. That happens every time. Mm-hmm. But for the people that went down there with every intention of protesting peacefully and stuff, who, exercise the rights that they have, that power to you. Keep it up. Yeah. Keep trying. But fuck, I don't envy you for doing so.
I mean...
And I can't risk getting sick. That's really what it comes down to. My mom's diabetes does put her more at risk. Mm-hmm. And so I can't risk endangering her.
I mean, Cheyenne's parents,
yeah.
I know. So, it's one of those things where it's I support you guys. I support what you're doing. I'm trying to do things from here that I can do. But good luck.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know the validity of this statement, but I did see reports that there was a police car that was in the middle of an intersection and then eventually caught fire. But I did hear reports that was planted, and there are a lot of people saying different things that the people that are inciting the violence sometimes are just agitators that aren't even there for the cause specifically, that are trying to incite a riot to escalate things, not necessarily for their own gain, but to throw a wrench in the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
So be careful,
we never
which
will.
is my main point, is be careful if you're even if you're peacefully protesting, because it can easily devolve into worse. And I remember because I personally was in Oakland during Trump's election protesting. Oof. And that was pretty bad. And this is getting worse. And yeah,
this is like Rodney King riots level of stuff going down.
Yeah. And yeah, because when we were out there, like there was still like tear gas being thrown and so like that by the police, but that wasn't as much destruction as there is currently, which is it's counterproductive in a lot of ways.
You're basically burning. I think it was the activist Killer Mike.
Yeah, no, I was literally about to say that. I will actually link that video in the description as well. Killer Mike did an excellent, eloquently put,
so well said,
press conference, or during a speech about kind of the counterproductivity and the harms of violently protesting as opposed to making your voice heard in other more productive ways. And that a lot of that is voting and physically making the systemic changes. I say physically, but making the systemic changes that would push along the agenda that everyone is trying to get behind. Because I mean, you can do all you want to in terms of like destruction and making your voice heard that way, but at the same time, they might not take you as seriously.
Well, they don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, they won't want to listen to you, but they won't take you as seriously as you literally voting them out of office.
Yeah.
People like sheriffs. If people don't know, a sheriff is an elected position.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And a lot of times sheriffs are reelected by default. There's usually like no one
because
against them because
no
one else will vote because no one votes for any opposition. That usually like, oh, it's the same sheriff, like just vote him back into office. I mean,
you watching John Oliver here, Chase?
Yeah, I think actually I did see that. Yeah. But yeah, so like if there are people in positions of power that are against the what your core beliefs, then get them out of office. Mm-hmm. Talk to your friends about it, like in your jurisdiction, get everyone to vote that person out.
It's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's your civic duty. Like if you see something
literally
wrong, do something about it, but do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are things you can do too that are not subtle, that aren't just like standing around being like, oh, like there are more aggressive things you can do that are not violent.
Mm-hmm.
That have made impacts on things in the past. I'm not like a civil rights activist or anything like that. Like it's not my forte, obviously. I am blessed by my by my place in life and how I'm pretty lucky, obviously. But like I know there are lessons that we can learn from the past about what choices we can and should make, and about like what we can do to actually impact change in a way that doesn't involve burning down our cities. Because that only hurts the people living in the cities.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you're actually trying to send a message to, they're safely tucked away. And I'm not saying that means let's go and burn down their houses, but I mean like it'll cost them time and effort to like fix the infrastructure, but it's not their money. It's our money that's being used to pay for these things. All we're doing is hurting ourselves to try and send a message, but it's a message of aggression that any person in power cannot safely listen to, because all that does is sends a message that it works.
Mm-hmm.
And my concern is it's that kind of, it's the same, and I'm not trying to equate these people, but it's the same general basis of like, we can't agree, like we can't acquiesce to terrorists, because all that does is tell them like it'll keep working for them to do this. It's people in power will be extremely hesitant to respond to aggression by rewarding and giving those people what they want, because all that would tell those people is that the next time something happens they don't agree with, they just burn down another city.
Yeah.
And they'll get their way. And so I feel like that is part of the reason, like, it will not work the way we want it to. Small, non-lasting change might happen, but like lasting change does require us to tear up the infrastructure behind what's making those decisions happen, and not just aggressively assault our neighbors and burn down like businesses that have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, because a lot of what I've also been seeing is when it devolves into that, then you get the people that take advantage of the situation for their own personal gain, and like or start looting stores of merchandise, like just so they can get stuff. It's like, what
I need a microwave and we broke into this Target. Fuck it.
Yeah. It's like, where is the change coming from by doing that? It's like, okay, yeah, I've also seen it's like, oh yeah, corporations like don't like people want to stick it to like big corporations like Target, which is why, but like, is that where we're going with this right now? Like what are you really trying to get across? And
what are you fighting for?
Yeah. By burning down a small business that also like is Black owned and supporting your cause and stealing from them, it's like, what good is that doing right now?
It's none.
Yeah.
And I understand people having a lot of anger.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be angry. I watched that video. I was furious. Mm-hmm. I mean, in my opinion, we all watched basically a murder happen.
It's disgusting. Yeah.
It is. It's horrible. And I understand being angry. I'm angry and it's not happening. And it's not affecting me directly. It's not a continued pattern that affects like my race, but it infuriates me. And I can't imagine how it would feel to be Black and to see this just being a never ending seeming cycle. Mm-hmm. But like, I feel like we need to find a way to take that anger and channel into something more productive that actually produces results, because this has never produced the results we're looking for.
Yeah.
Being angry, burning things. Like, I can't think of a time in US history where that really got shit done in a lasting way, in a way that we wanted it to. And maybe I'm wrong in saying the comments of like, no, like we burned down Chicago and suddenly Chicago became a fucking paradise. I know it didn't, but like, you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I don't know every ounce of history of our country, but I feel like to really make social and lasting changes, like you need to not let yourself be painted as the villain. And it is all too easy to paint protesters that turn rioters into villains, because the people that you're standing up against have a bigger voice than you in a lot of ways, and they have the authority to make that voice more heard. Easier.
And I do want to note, because I think it's also very important, is that we are two white men talking about this topic. And we do not assume to 100% understand the anger and feelings of the Black community.
Yeah.
But that being said, from my position of privilege, I can look from that outside perspective and see what other people are thinking about, like in response to this, right? And I mean, I really do not subscribe to Fox News or watch Fox News, but it being on, and having watched it, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, like Kyle said, it's easy to paint people with like in violent and riots in a negative light, in that it's easy to villainize them, so that these actions can be easily spun to unite the right or anybody that disagrees with this message against people who are pushing this message, right?
Yeah, I do think it is important to mention though, like, this isn't strictly left versus right.
Yeah, thing. I mean that's also true.
Yeah, no, and obviously, like, it's easier to see, it does feel like, Fox News is pushing an agenda. A lot of people on the right, hold, these opinions
that's why I mentioned that.
More likely attribute to people that would stand against this protest. I get that.
Yeah.
That does not mean that, like, everyone right-leaning, all Republicans are like, yeah, fuck this. No, stop rioting. Cops are great. This isn't just, like, a black and white issue. And also, it is important to note, like you were talking, like Fox was painting a very specific picture. Now, to be fair, they weren't the only network painting that negative picture. I watched some CNN coverage last night that was extremely not flattering to the protests, and were also insightful for the protesters. Like, they were trying to start a riot. It felt like watching sometimes, and it's all a mess. And everybody that has like those sorts of like, you know, I haven't trusted on basically any like major news outlet in a long time.
Yeah, that's why I usually try watching multiple sources.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have Fox News because. Yeah.
No, I get it.
But that's the reason that go like multiple news sources. I'm like, okay, what's the actual truth here? I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, because everyone's telling you. Yeah, everyone is telling you their version of the truth or their spin on the facts and the details that they have, which is one, you're basically getting their interpretation of a bunch of facts, and two, they probably don't have all the facts. And so the more interpretations and the more facts you can kind of try and like dig through, the better and the more informed you can be.
Yes, because understand the media that you see or that's being, you know, shown to you on TV or wherever doesn't have to be the truth.
Yeah.
Legally, it does not.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is sensationalized, and it's because it is for views. They're for-profit, companies that are giving you media and giving you news topics, but they can spin it in whatever way they want, and it's still free press.
Yeah, all they have to do is they're just very specific things they don't need to break, and they can basically spin it however they want without breaking the law.
Yeah,
and it's a mess. And you know, it's how do you gain this information in a non-biased way is incredibly difficult. And to be fair, most people don't want unbiased news. They claim they do.
Yeah, but they don't. It's an echo chamber thing.
Yeah, and we're all very guilty of that. Like everyone is.
It's your internal bias.
Yeah, you want to hear people that agree with your opinions, and it makes you feel more vindicated in your opinions. And it's not easy to go outside of that and challenge it. And it's the same reason it's not easy to like go across the aisle and talk to people who disagree with you. You may think you want that, but it'll just piss you off.
Yeah.
But I do think like it is important that like we all do something and do our part. I don't know a single person that watched the video and weren't disgusted by it. Like, you know, Floyd. Like it's just it's horrible, and it is disgusting, and it's inhumane, and we need to do something. But I think we all need to come together to find something that we all can do, and we all need to agree on it. And I know that's fucking impossible, but if at least enough people come together with a unified vision, not just like a unified reason, like everybody of most of the people I'd say marching on the streets are there because they're upset and they know what they saw was wrong. But I feel like ask 100 people and you'll get 50 different plans on what to do after this. There isn't a plan. There isn't a vision. There's just anger that people are trying to use in unviolent ways. But I feel like it's too easy when you don't have like a mission statement, when you don't have a vision, when you don't have a plan, to go to that lowest common denominator when things get difficult. Because what else can you do by yourself? And you may be surrounded by a crowd of 10,000 people that agree with you, but you're 10,000 individual people. And that's rarely how change gets done, in my opinion. And it doesn't help that like nowadays it's hard to find like the leaders of these kinds of like movements and stuff, because we live in a world where there's always something terrible happening. 2020 has been a fucking nightmare.
For a lot of reasons, yeah.
Yeah. But like, and so it's what we talk about, like, you know, what people talk about all the time. It's like there's always like another terrible news piece the next week that makes you forget about the one from the week before. Mm-hmm. And so like the public's interest, it's just constantly swaying, it's constantly like changing. And it's not easy right now to motivate an entire movement when a lot of people are still scared to go outside and get close to people.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know the solution to this problem. I don't want to allow people that are doing this for the right reasons to let themselves kind of get trapped into being painted as the villains, the antagonists.
I don't want people that are like, that have the actual reason, right? That believe firmly in the reasoning behind their movement, and, you know, trying to push this in a productive way to be punished alongside those that take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest crimes that can be done anymore. Like, when it comes to this movement, like, this is a situation built on violence. Like, this is a tragedy started this. A violent act started this. It should not be solved by violence. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to fix it. I wish I did. I guarantee there are a million people out there who wish they knew how. Like, there are hundreds of million people that wish they knew how to fix this problem.
Yeah.
But, like, as long as we try and find ways to work together in meaningful ways, like, I think that's the only way that any actual change will get done before we just move on to the next horrible thing that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that being said, that's all we have to say. I think
we're planning on getting back onto this later, but hey, we're back.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. I actually do want to mention something before we go. Totally not related. But because
glasses are cool. I don't know, just like something totally random.
No, it's not my facial hair. It's something actually I was going to mention last week, but I totally forgot.
I actually meant to mention this when we first started, and then we got very serious.
I thought you would. So, something totally stupid coming off the coattails of that.
But hey, maybe that's the best way to end our stupid podcast.
No, because 2 weeks ago I noticed that I couldn't, like, my facial hair was like just getting to a point where it wouldn't grow anymore. I was like, what the heck? I think it might have to do something with anxiety or my nutrition, or, like, you know, different hormonal balance being out of whack. Because I used to be able to, within a certain amount of time, grow like a pretty full beard, where it was like pretty full. I mean, you could say it was full about 2 weeks ago, but it would be longer.
Yeah.
And it just stopped growing for weeks. Mm-hmm. It was like the same length, and I was like, what the heck? So I was just gonna, like, trim it to where it was all uniform, and I accidentally, because I got a new trimmer, I forgot to put the guard back on, and I just went and kind of like cut deep into cut to the skin level on one part, and I was like, oh shit. So I shaved everything down right here and left this. And then on last week's podcast, what I meant to do was bring my razor and just have a bit to where I shaved my facial hair in different orientations for shits and giggles. And then one of them was gonna be kind of the current thing I have now, which was just this mustache, and then, like, grow out my goatee. Like a Guy Fawkes, some shit.
Yeah.
But even at this point, like, it's kind of grown back in around here, so
it doesn't quite have the same impact. Yeah. I will say, though, when I first saw you, first of all, like, when he started the call before we started recording, like, he didn't have that jacket on. He was just wearing a plain white shirt. The microphone was covering his chin, so all I could see was the mustache. And it just looked like he was trying to do, like, a fucking Freddie Mercury cosplay.
That's so funny. No, this is the shirt that Cheyenne gave me because I didn't have a change of clothes. Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't have a shirt. The shirt was the only thing I didn't have, because I actually had a gym bag in my car. So I'm like, oh, I have other clothes. I'm like, oh,
I always have one change of clothes in my car.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. And a blanket and a pillow.
I have a blanket. No,
you don't need a pillow.
I have a jacket. Yeah, whatever. But thank you for joining us on this journey.
Me and Freddie Mercury.
Yes. That should be the name of the podcast. Me and Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, keep that up.
No.
All right, but yeah, seriously, thank you for listening, guys. I know this was like a fun sandwich, but the bread was intense as shit.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, I don't think there's any way we could have reasonably talked about this without just willfully ignoring the fact that we are currently living in a city that has a curfew.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the pandemic raging across the planet.
Yeah, I was like, when I first read it, because for a long time I kind of did have my head in the sand where it's like I didn't really know what was going on. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I really need to know, like, I need to educate myself on what's happening. And then I watched the video, I'm like, oh God, this is like terrible. And it really outraged me. But like the responses to all this stuff, I'm like, what is happening? I was like, I need to know. And then like coming on the podcast, I'm like, there's no way we can go a podcast without saying anything, especially because that we'd be like not complacent. What's thinking of a
Consenting?
word? Yeah, well, I mean,
silence
kind
is
of
consent.
Yeah, like yeah, without push like. We need to talk about it. It needs to be addressed in some manner. Otherwise, I'd feel like a shitty person for not bringing it up because like it's. Yeah.
I feel you, man. I do.
Mm-hmm. But thank you all, and we will be back next week, hopefully with a more lighthearted episode with
let's
good
hope things
news.
aren't worse in a week.
Let's get some good news and not like actually one funny thing that we did when we were driving to my car. I noticed this because we were driving down through because like there's 3 cities right here. We were driving down to one city to get my car because technically I left my car in another city to charge, and then like everything was totally fine. This is like after the curfew. It's not the city of Los Angeles, but everything was totally fine.
That city, it wasn't curfew yet.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't curfew. But at the time it was curfew for the city of Los Angeles. But nothing was like, it was just totally normal. There's no protest. There's nothing. Got my car, drove back. And then we got to the house and we can see to the other side, there's another city and there's helicopters hovering, sirens going. I'm just like, stuff's happening over there, but not over there. It was such a stark contrast. I'm like, what's happening? Yeah. But I mean, it's also like a demographic, I think, is a big thing about the surrounding cities. What were you going to say?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just about my internet.
Oh, you still has not been upgraded.
Still not been upgraded.
It's been weeks.
I'll tell you about it after. It doesn't need to be in the podcast.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
I will say though, I am very concerned, Chase. After all the serious topics, what if we get demonetized?
Oh no! Whatever would we do?
Well, actually, to be fair, YouTube is censoring, not only demonetizing, but not.
They're suppressing.
Suppressing information about this topic, and for that reason, I was actually not going to tag anything about that in the title or tags or anything like that. Just so the message is still there, people can see it without it being suppressed. If that makes sense.
I mean, it's fair.
It's like it should be pushed to
They
everybody.
do also have AI that like listens to words used in like the first 5 minutes of a video.
True.
We'll see how this works.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, we gotta try and like literally whatever. If people don't see this, oh no. But it'll still be on the channel. They're not removing videos, mind you.
Yes.
It's just this isn't very likely to show up in your sub box. You know why?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Goodbye. My name is Chase.
And be safe.
Yes, be safe.
My name's
Please be
Scott.
safe.
I'm Cheyenne. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.